few years ago, I started getting a little more serious about I've always wanted to write a book. I grew up reading a ton. It was just something that was instilled in me from early days. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to give that to people. I wanted to share those stories. I wanted to make people think and laugh. And I've been able to do that, I think, with other things that I've written, but it's different in a book form. I always knew that I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't really put as much thought as maybe I should have into how to do that. I feel like a lot of things in my life have lined up and sort of made the next step clear. So I was working in an office of a photography studio, and it was not a great environment for me. And a friend of mine, she was writing for AOL's fitness blog called Vetstreet.com, and she was like, you should submit some things. You should write for them. And because I had done, I had been in sports my entire life. I did, some running and, lots of different fitnessy, workouty things. But I was like, I have no certifications. Like, why would anyone listen to me? And this is back in early days of blogging. People weren't just putting out whatever they thought on the internet yet. She kept pushing it. She's like, you're a great writer. This would be a good way for you to do it. The pay is crap, but just get your name out. So I submitted for that, and I said, hey, I know things, I can write. Got hired, and things really fell in place from there. During that time, I was also doing a lot of fitness content. Got to working with these wonderful women at a site called Fit Bottomed Girls, and very quickly just realized they were my people. They were early pioneers of the body positivity movement, and the idea that fit doesn't look a certain way, healthy doesn't look one certain way. We can be active and fit and healthy at a wide variety of sizes. And so before too long, I actually ended up buying in as partner there. So I'm now co-owner of FitBottomedGirls.com, and we've gotten to do some really cool things there. It seems like every time a career opportunity came up and it felt like a yes, not all of it lasted forever. Well, none of it lasted forever, really. But it's always led to things that were important. I've gotten to do things that scared me, things that pushed me. I know there's a lot of follow your bliss, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that if you can follow your bliss to something that works for you and your life. But there's something else to just find something that you can do day in and day out, and that doesn't make you wish you could be anywhere else. And so when I was working in an office job, the amount of stress I felt over something that I had no ownership over, but the amount of anxiety and stuff that I internalized in that job was horrible. And spoiler alert, I'm a writer and I'm a little anxious and depressed. I know this is a shock. That was probably the thing, was that I was in this job. I didn't know the next step. I knew that, I had the English degree, I had, some journalism, class experience, but I was just I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do, because I knew that I didn't have the chops or the confidence at that time to jump into a newsroom and be hire me, I'm your girl. I had big dreams, but I didn't have that sort of backbone, I guess. Having the opportunity to dip a toe in a little bit, and then realize that I could make my dream work if I knew I would have to work hard, I would have to work a lot of hours, and I would have to put a lot of effort into it to make myself stand out from all the other people. 6 years ago, I moved from Gainesville down here to Sarasota, still working freelance, as a freelance writer and editor. A few years ago, I started getting a little more serious about I've always wanted to write a book. Really kind of last year with the pandemic, the publishing industry has changed and has continued to change. So I just kind of continue to be ready to pivot, because my income basically was cut in half and then probably cut by a third again, not because I had changed anything, but because budgets were slashed and publications folded, and at the same time, Jared was and is doing well with work. So we sort of decided if there's going to be a time to make a big pivot, another one, then this is a time when we can do it and really go for it. The last little bit is stepping a bit back more from this freelance career that I have, grown and loved, and putting a lot of focus into writing a book. And that's kind of where I am now, is at this precipice of I'm a little too far in to walk it back now. So this thing's either going to happen, or I'm going to have tried really hard, and I guess if the worst case scenario is that I end up going back to this previous iteration of my career that I felt good about and loved and enjoyed, and I just have to hustle a little harder, then so be it. But hopefully, this will turn into the next step in my career. Things have lined up previously. I've tried really hard to make the connections and to do the work to allow that to happen. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter how successful you are by anyone's measure. Like, if you are someone who struggles with that, like, you are going to have days where, like, this is shit, I'm shit, everything's shit, like, I should quit. Like, there's no point in me continuing to try this. I know that's gonna be there. I think that's what makes it so important to have another idea of what makes you feel successful. I'm all about making goals, and I love looking forward and thinking about what could be. It's like, of course, celebrate all the wins, but the bottom line is, like, if I'm sitting here right now and we're talking and this is what's happening, like, how am I going to choose to experience this moment? And then the way I choose to experience it now will certainly influence how I remember it later on. And that's something I wish I had understood when I was younger. You get to feel happy, you do get to feel confident. You get to choose it at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter what other people think or say unless you allow it to matter. So I just want to choose to be happy. And if I can choose to be happy every day, that is the biggest success I can hope for, I think.